Greetings, guitar engineers. I'm Desi Cerna, and in this free guitar lesson, I'm going to answer the question, what does it mean to play over chords? If you're interested in soloing over chord changes or outlining a progression or using chord tone soloing, I'm going to explain what you need to do. Let's dive in. Playing over chords refers to playing lead lines in a manner that accentuate the chord changes. This involves targeting the notes of the chords that you play over so that the lead line is more closely connected to those chords. With these types of lead lines, you can actually hear the chord changes even when the chords are not present. Now, typically when this subject is discussed, it's said in the context of jazz improvisation, but the technique occurs all over rock music as well. For example, here's a portion of Gary Moore's Still Got the Blues, and notice how you can make out the chord changes by listening to just the lead line alone. So each phrase here lands on a note that is part of its underlying chord. If I go through this again and play the basic melody, you can see that each chord contains a melody note. That's D minor, G, C, F, minor 7 flat 5, E7, A minor. So Still Got the Blues is an example of playing over the chords. Let me give you a different example. Here's a portion of the solo to Let It Be by the Beatles. So everything I just played is in the C major pentatonic scale, but each phrase ends on a note that is part of the underlying chord. So the basic chords here are C, G, A minor, and F. And now let's take a look at how the lead line is tied to these chords. It starts like this. So that's a C, part of the C chord. That's a D note, which lands right on the G chord, and it's the fifth of the G chord. This section here slides into E, which is the fifth of the next chord, A minor. You can also consider the G and the A that follow as part of the chord, A minor or A minor 7. And then finally, you come back to C and you hit it at the same time that the F chord is played, and C is the fifth of the F chord. So you can see how the lead line is closely connected to the chord tones. Let me give you another example. Do you recognize this riff? Do you hear this riff as fitting with any chords? How about the chords C and F? This riff, My Girl by the Temptations, is played by stepping straight up the C major pentatonic scale over the C chord and the F major pentatonic scale over the F chord. This riff was composed specifically to fit over the C and F chord changes, which is why you can hear the chord changes even when the riff is played alone. This idea of switching scales to follow chord changes occurs in a lot of rock music. Listen to the lead line in Gimme 3 Steps by Lynyrd Skynyrd and notice how you can clearly make out the chord changes from the lead line by itself. Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix, and also as performed by Stevie Ray Vaughan, is played by going chord to chord and embellishing each chord with surrounding and related notes and scale patterns. For example, you start on E minor, then you go to A minor, a little bit of the A minor pentatonic there, then you go to G, A minor, or the A minor pentatonic there, back to E minor, or the E minor pentatonic over the E minor chord, then you go to B minor, and how about the Stevie Ray version? That's over B minor, C chord, C chord there, with some C major pentatonic, D chord, with some D major pentatonic, and then notes surrounding a D chord. In a blues progression, playing over the chords means that you target the chord tones of the chords as they change rather than just stick in one general scale over the whole progression. A simple way to do this is to follow the chord changes using sixth intervals like you hear in the song Killing Floor by Howlin' Wolf. For another example of playing over the chords in the blues, listen to the beginning of Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan and notice how he directly plays over the chords, starting with G, then going up to C, in the world of jazz, playing over chords is the name of the game. Now, playing jazz is beyond my area of expertise, but I can tell you that it requires you to be familiar with extended chords, altered chords, as well as various arpeggios and scales. All right, let's talk about the ways that guitarists approach playing over chords and what might be going through their mind. Sometimes guitarists just use their ear and listen to the pitches that sound good to them, and they end up landing on chord tones whether they realize it or not. In some cases, a player might actually think about notes. So for example, this progression that I'm playing over ends on an F chord, which is made up of the notes F, A, and C. So I might consciously thinking about landing on one of those notes when I finish my lead line. Finally, guitarists will visualize chord shapes and arpeggio patterns and superimpose them over scale patterns so that they can target the chord tones in a connect the dots like fashion. So for example, here's A minor pentatonic, here's an F chord in C form, over time, as your musical skills improve, you will likely play over chords by using a combination of these approaches, sometimes visualizing chord shapes and arpeggio patterns, sometimes thinking about the actual notes, and sometimes just being guided by your ear. All right, well now you know what it means to play over chords. If you found this video helpful, click like and leave me some positive feedback. If you have questions, post them in the comments below and I'll reply. Perhaps this lesson is exactly what you need to be working on right now. Or maybe you're getting ahead of yourself. If you need help determining what you should specifically be working on right now in order to get your guitar skills in order, go to my website, guitarmusictheory.com. Answer the questions I ask you about your playing, and I'll send you free custom video instruction calibrated to your current level. I'll show you what you need to do to move forward with your playing, and I'll help you understand music in the process. Go to guitarmusictheory.com. You can click on the link in the video description. Well, thanks for watching. I'm Desi Cerna. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, click on the notification bell to receive alerts when new videos are uploaded, then keep playing and stay tuned for more.